This is Inoculated Radio, the place of original music, poetry, and storytelling. I'm your host, Verse Train, and back here on the show is poet Natalie Poetic Soul Cook. Last year, she used to be a part of Team Atlanta for Brave New Voices, and now currently she's going to college at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. So, Natalie, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
She's also Skyping from Atlanta, Georgia.
Woo!
So, Natalie, tell me this. How does it feel being back in Atlanta compared to being in Madison, Wisconsin?
It feels great to be here for one because it's a lot warmer than Wisconsin. And I haven't been here in a long time. I started school in the summer actually. So this is my first time being back since June. So it's really great to see all my family and friends. And yeah, it's just really good to be back home.
And plus, you like the heat, huh?
Yes, the weather is the main thing. I'm very happy for the weather.
Yeah, because I was seeing in some of your Facebook pics that you were kind of like a little bit uneasy about the cold Madison weather.
Yeah, I'm not really good with the cold. I'm still adjusting. I'm a southern girl, so I'm still adjusting to the north.
Yeah, gotta bring that southern hospitality up to the Midwest, huh?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So, Natalie, what stuff have you been doing up at the University of Wisconsin-Madison? Have you been involved with some poetry workshops there, or some teams up there?
Well, I've been very blessed to be a part of a scholarship program called First Wave. It's a spoken word and hip hop learning community. And basically, we write, we perform, we just learn every aspect of what hip hop is and poetry and all these different types of things. And we prepare for shows that we're doing. And it's just a really great community. Like, it's basically just a hip hop curriculum. And you get to experiment with all different types of performance aspects. So it's a great program, and I encourage any young poet or any young artist, if you're looking for a school to go to and you don't know which one, University of Wisconsin-Madison, First Wave. It's a great program for all young artists.
Before we get into your first poetic piece, is it like a big
university,
university or is it kind of like just
Yes, it's huge. It is a huge university. Yeah, I should say that it's huge. So
Oh,
yeah.
oh, wow, wow. I just want to give the audience a little bit of idea because I want it to be like, oh, like, well, Natalie's just going to a small college up in Madison.
Oh no, it's huge. Like, First Wave is still growing. We're like probably 60 something students right now. It's been going on for 5 years, but the university itself is huge.
Wow, wow, yeah. So, any like college applicants, good place to visit.
A great place. Like, if you're a young artist, you'll love First Wave. It's like the step up from Brave New Voices. A lot of people you see in First Wave, they've been to Brave New Voices before.
Okay, that's good. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get into Natalie Poetic Soul Cook's first poetic piece. So, what would you like to recite for the audience?
This first poem that I would like to recite is For the Boys Molested by Gerald Sandusky. And for those of you who don't know, Gerald Sandusky, he is a former assistant coach for Penn State, and he was charged with molesting several young boys who he was supposed to be mentoring.
All right, so here it is by Natalie Poetic Soul Cook.
In the beginning of darkness, no one sees that the wind blows trees. Dusk. Wind bends tree over. Branches hang on air for support. Oxygen slippers out of grasp. Motion stumps bark. Wind barks at stump. Howls like thunder. Rain pours down brown leg. Wind ravages tree. Paper is made from tree. Pen moves on paper rapid like wind. Pen pokes hole in paper. Holes mistaken for balls. Pen coaches ball. Pen coach throws balls into holes, holes of trees, bent over, brown, dripping of white. Trees know nothing of love, just wind. In darkness, no one prays because no one sees. Wind has raped the faith out of tree. Children know not of innocence when guardian angels break their wings but still want to ride their backs. God reigns, but that is not him pouring from the shower faucet. When the light goes off in locker rooms, wind blows in, rears his ugly head into rear. The shower can't wash away hell. Horned angel, heaven and hell look too much alike. I can't tell a demon from first glance, even if he's been in practice for over 10 years. In practice, he is an angel at games. He is a god because he knows how to teach ball, thrusting them after each cocker. When the field lights go off, the ones of the locker room come on. The shower is his personal stadium. Dusk. Wind has been caught trespassing forest. The trees are now bent. Wind claims that he was just giving a breeze, not a dusky blow. Dusky doesn't blow. Dusky just loves children and ball. Boys are balls handled by a pro. Boys' balls are handled by a pro. Horses and donkeys may look similar, but you can't tell me that anal rape sounds like horseplay. Why were you showering with little boys anyway? Coaching ball must not have been fulfilling. You wanted to play, to feel the sweltering brown in your palms. You went in showers to be dirty. The windows condensate profusely, drip sweat onto gym floors, imprinted with the souls of barefooted boys. The wind blows the cracks in, seals them in with tornadoes. Wind blows harder when no one is listening. Whispers sound a lot like silence. Your mouth started a storm when it was closed. Football games still went on, students in stands, trees at stance. The wind was seen and not heard, kind of like how children are taught to be. What if wind was once just a bent tree, a horned angel who once had a halo, who wasn't kicked out of heaven, just fell out of his kingdom? If wind was once a 10-year-old boy who only bent over when setting a play, a 10-year-old boy who hadn't begun to think of his back being arched like a rainbow, a 10-year-old boy who just wanted to play ball, not play with one. If at some time wind did not blow, then we're all just variations of Lucifer walking on clouds of smoke. Heaven and hell look too much alike, even when dusk is brought to light. The deforestation of innocence smells of burning crosses. The trees are bent. The wind is still. The wind still claims the same innocence he grabbed in his palms, running freely with dirty hands. A little boy is not a football game. You don't touch down there.
Wow. And that was Natalie Poetic Soul Cook with a very, in-depth, very metaphoric piece about Jerry Sandusky, the convicted former coach of Penn State. What's the title of the poem again?
It doesn't really have a title. I just put For the Boys Molested by Gerald Sandusky.
How do you feel personally just about the whole situation when you hear stories like that?
Well, I think one of the reasons why I'm a writer is because I feel like I have the obligation to share people's stories who aren't able to share it themselves, or who probably haven't discovered their outlet to share it yet. And I know particularly with this case, when I heard about it, it really hit me really hard, because I was thinking, wow, like these 10-year-old boys, like so young, like they don't even know what the world is yet. And their innocence has been taken away so quickly at such a young age, all because the same thing probably happened to this man. You know, like it's just a cycle. And this man was probably molested at a young age too, and he's just passing on this cycle. And that's why in the poem, like it's for the boys, but you also hear me mention about Sandusky, like, what if he was once this 10-year-old boy, you know? And it's like, it's so blurred, like heaven and hell look too much alike. Like you just can't tell, like you can't tell who's the demon, who's the angel, who went through what. And it's so sad, because you just know, like, wow, these boys, their innocence was taken away at such an early age. And what can you really do about it? And I wrote a poem about it, and I want to share it with the world, you know, so I can at least do them a little bit of justice, but I still can't take that moment away. All I can do is share their story. So that's all I can really do being a writer.
I like how you put the metaphors in there, because I'm sure even for you as a poet, sometimes it had to be tough to really get into those in-depth places when you really, like, you put like a visual image on it. And I'm sure even for you yourself being young, it had to be like, oh, like, wow. It's like just reading it back. It's like, did you feel like goosebumps when you read it back, or just even like when you said it yourself, like, oh?
Yeah, it's pretty rough. It was a very hard thing to write. And it's weird, because you would think like it's an outside experience for me, but actually I just take everything on so much to the point where I actually feel like I'm going through what these people are going through. So it never ever seems like an outside experience. It always seems like I've experienced this as well. And it's really hard to explain, but I guess it's an overly empathetic thing. I'm really not sure. So doing the piece just now for you, I had to really like try to contain myself.